Right, today I'm going to make up a sauce for my meatballs. What I only from a previous video I only ate half of them. I've got half of them left, so I'll use them up today. So here goes. I've got 2 onions, one red, one white. I've got a red pepper, a green pepper, a little bit of carrot, 5-6 cloves of garlic. Call it what? I suppose you could call it 4 decent sized cloves of garlic, really. I'm going to use chilli powder, oregano. My basil plant, I would like to use fresh basil. I have got some fresh basil, but I've got very little of it left. I want to use up all what I've got, but I might have to add a bit of dried basil. And then I'm going to use coriander, cumin, parsley, thyme, a tin of chopped tomatoes, some tomato puree, and that's just tomato juice if I need it. I don't mind if there's going to be a lot of sauce for these meatballs, because tomorrow I will just use it. I'll just cook some chicken in it or something. So in there I've got some butter and olive oil, and I'm going to put the onions into it. Without making too much of a mess.
Well, Jodie will shout.
So in with the onions, I'm just going to fry those off for a little few minutes. And then I'm going to crush the garlic in there, so I'll come back to you in a few minutes. Right, I've crushed the garlic into that pan. I'm just going to add the peppers in there now. Just let them fry around a little bit. Get the juice and the peppers in there. I need the water in there, to be honest. I've got a little bit of fresh basil. Look, it really wants loads of fresh basil, this does. It's all I've got left. It's the last of my plant, so I wish I had some more. But I haven't, so it is what it is. I have to use dried. So anyway, I'll just let this continue a second, and I'm going to add my spices. I'll come back in a minute. Right, I'm going to add some tomato puree now, because you want to add it at this stage to allow it to cook out a little bit, because what it is, it gets rid of the bitterness. And I'm going to add my spices in a sec, so just put, I don't know, a couple of tablespoons of tomato puree, something like that. Whatever. Right, I am just doing this to taste, but I will, so I don't exactly know how much of everything I'm using yet, but I will list it all at the end. So I'm going to go with a teaspoon of coriander, teaspoon of cumin, teaspoon of chili powder. This is not for heat, this is just more for the flavour of it, so I probably will only go with 1 teaspoon of that. I've not got enough basil, so I'm definitely going to go with some dried basil. Sure, I'm just debating whether to put this in. I'm going to put that in when the tomatoes gone in. So I'll just leave that at that for the time being. Give this a stir up now. Allow them to cook out. Right, I'll come back a second. Right, so that's been frying for a little bit now. So tomato puree is cooked out. Spices are not raw anymore. I'm going to add this tin of chopped tomatoes. Stir that in a sec. Stir that in. And I'm going to go with a carton of tomato juice as well. I might be putting everything tomatoes in it, because I don't mind making like a lot of the sauce, because it keeps. I mean, I'll save it for another.
Versatile, you can use it with
anything.
chicken or whatever.
I can't do a small portion, Joe, can I?
It's impossible.
Our freezer's full of all different sauces and things like that. What we have left over, one thing or another, and yeah, it's the culture just use. I mean,
we can't do a dinner for 2.
It's a waste of time though, isn't it? If you're going to spend some time cooking, then you might as well do a decent sized one. Then you can have a day off another day, can't you? You know what I mean? It's like, it's easy, especially if you're working and stuff like that. Makes sense. Make a big massive pan. Oh, sorry. Make a big massive pan full. Freeze it. Use it again. Whatever. So, right, that's that. I'll rinse that out in a minute with a bit of water. So, just give that a mix up a sec. It's looking good now. So So now, from that point on, I will swill this can out in a minute with water, but just for now, throw that away. I'm going to go with a teaspoonful of dried basil. I would much sooner it be fresh. I've got some fresh in here, but not loads. Teaspoonful of oregano. Just stir a minute. Miss you on the radio, stereo, the way you move ain't fair, you know. Right, so that's that. I've got, that's just a bit of parsley, thyme and basil. Get that in as well. Yeah. I'll go with, sorry if I'm in the way, I'm just, yeah, whatever. Teaspoon of salt.
Some squeaky ground pepper.
Yeah, and I put loads of pepper in it. And then what I'm going to do here, like I say, I'm going to rinse this tomato tin out, so it's going to get a bit of water in it. Then, may as well throw that carrot in it as well. And then I'm just going to leave it to cook for a little bit, then I'm going to taste it and I'll go from there with what else I'm going to add to it, spice wise. Love ain't fair, you know. I love this song. Soul Sister, say. Soul Sister, what a song! Hey, Soul Sister, say I'm gonna miss you. Bit of water. And put the lid on, leave that to cook for a little bit. I'll come back to you in a little while. Hey, Soul Sister, say I'm gonna miss you.
Bye.
Right, I've got my focus back now, my song's finished on the radio. So I'm definitely going with another spoon of each of everything. Another cumin. Another coriander. And then another oregano. One more dried basil. And then I'm also going to put in a couple of teaspoons of sugar, just because. A couple of teaspoons of sugar. My food's not good for dieting, but it's definitely good to keep you away from the supermarket processed poison, that's for sure. Anyway, so I'm going to allow that to cook now. I'm not going to put the meatballs in it just yet. I want to just taste this. So I'm going to allow that to cook for, I'm going to put the lid on, leave it for about half an hour, and come back and give it a taste and see what it's saying. So, see you soon. Right, so I've just left that on for about half an hour now. What I've done is, I've put another half a teaspoon of salt in there, and about 1.5 teaspoons of sugar. So altogether it's had 3.5 teaspoons of sugar and 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And I think that's the balance now. That's easy as good as anything you buy out of a jar. In fact, Dolmio, in my opinion, is the nicest one. And that's easy as good as that. It's better than all the rest, in fact. So now I'm just going to add my meatballs to it. And then I'm going to put it in the oven. So I ain't got to keep stirring it, basically. That's all. Leave it in the oven. We don't exactly want it just yet, so I'll leave it in the oven for, what, hour and a half, something like that. So don't need that long. It's probably more or less ready now, but you know, I'm just gonna let all this amalgamate. Just eat it later at tea time, eh? So that's that then. I'll come back to you in a bit, guys. So there you go. That's like a tomato-based pasta sauce. It's like a bolognese sauce, really, with my meatballs that I made in the previous video. It's proper nice. There you go.
See ya.